the Board of Fair Commissioners meeting. This is the October 11th version. Is information for our audience. If you're not satisfied with the decision made by the Metro Board of Fair Commissioners today, you may appeal the decision by petitioning for a writ of cert with the Davidson County Chancery or Circuit Court. Your appeal must be filed within 60 days of the date of entry of the board's decision. To ensure that your appeal is filed in a timely manner and that all procedural requirements have been met, please be advised that you should contact your own independent legal counsel. So I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order and ask for approval of the minutes from our previous meeting.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes as received.
I second.
Thank you. Thank you for the second. All in favor of approving the minutes from the previous meeting?
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And we will now move to public comment times. Christy, do we have anybody that has signed up? Is there anybody in the audience who wishes to speak during public comment? Seeing none, we'll move forward to monthly reports, and I'll call on Satrice for the financial update.
Hello, everyone. The financial information presented today is preliminary, and all revenue and expenses for September 2022 may not have been recorded to the ledgers as of October 10th, 2022, when this report was created. The preliminary actuals through September are as follows.
Satrice, we can't understand a word you're saying, so they're going to have to fix the echo. So hold that thought, please.
The financial information presented today is preliminary, and all revenue and expenses for September 2022 may not have been recorded to the ledgers as of October 10th, 2022, when this report was created. The preliminary actuals through September are as follows. Revenue is approximately $891,800. Expenditures are around $1.2 million, resulting in a net loss of $332,665. Depreciation expense is $113,546, so the total net loss is roughly $446,211. Below you will find an itemized list of our revenue and expenses. Our top three revenue sources are flea market, corporate sales events, and the divisional fair. The flea market revenue is roughly $112,600, which represents 13%. Corporate sales events is around $328,359, which represents 37% of our total revenue. The divisional fair is $409,000, which represents 46% of our total revenue. Our top three expenses are payroll, purchase services, and supplies. Payroll expense is approximately $287,900, which represents 24% of our total expenses. Purchase services expense is $446,688,000, which is 36%. Supplies expense is $142,959, which is 12% of our total expenses. For the month of October, our revenue projection is approximately $181,000. We anticipate 38% collection from revenue from the flea market, 49% from corporate sales events, 13% from the racetrack. This concludes our financial report. Are there any questions?
I just had a quick question. I'm not sure if it'll be appropriate for you to answer or maybe the director, but I did miss part of the fair. I was able to fly in the morning of the last day of the fair and actually had a great time at the fair. And so my question is that did we meet expectations, revenue expectations for this fair that we just had?
Well, according to our budget, we anticipated $514,000 for the revenue coming in for the fair, and currently we're at 409. We do anticipate a little bit more coming in from Sapphire, and so by the end of this month, we should have a final number as to how much we collected based upon our projection or our estimate for revenue.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions for Satrice on the financial report? Okay. Let's go ahead and move to events update. Director?
That is me. Thank you. How's this coming across? Good? Okay. So this event update is primarily about a reset. I've had the pleasure to connect with a lot of our clients on a more personal level the last couple weeks, and I've learned a great deal from them. Chair Wiener and I met with leadership from the Nashville Exotic Pet Club, and I am pleased that we are moving forward on contracting for 2023. It was an excellent meeting, and I think we both learned a lot, and that will continue. Certainly the impact of rescheduling and cancellation of anticipated events is evident, and it is regretful. We will do better, and we will continue to reach out to our clients and engage them and learn from them as we focus on establishing clear and consistent procedures and processes. We know that we are not just a set of structures, we are actually partners, valuable partners to our clients and their success, and we'll move forward with them with that clear understanding. There have been a lot of investments. I'd like to say there's once-in-a-lifetime investments here at the Fairgrounds, and those are going to continue, and we are poised to have and see additional event opportunities as time passes and experienced in this venue to date. It is encouraging, but with an understanding that the growth and the opportunity must be managed prudently. We'll be taking the necessary time to review past practices and industry best practices, continue to meet with clients and draft updated processes for booking and contracting events, and we are certainly excited to present that to the board when finalized at a later date. I will tell you, currently we have 1.5 vacancies in our event services. We'll be recruiting new leadership for our event services division. We've got 2 new employees who have been with us for less than a month. They are here, and I wanted to introduce them to you. We have Marissa Ellington-Catano, and we are very happy to have Marissa. Her focus right now is flea market, and I'm happy to say that she is a former flea market vendor. So she comes to the flea market seeing the operation of the market from 2 sides. She participated in the market when we were up on the hill, so has a wealth of knowledge from that perspective, and I think she is going to be a really valuable addition with that insight as we, refine our market and grow our market in the future. We also have Trina Coble. Trina's been with us for, again, less than a month, and she is our new event services coordinator. And Trina's been, it's kind of been learn while you're on fire type of last couple weeks. I'm going to be working really closely with both of them and lending them support as we recruit for new leadership for the event services. We have made an offer and it's been accepted, and we will have another event coordinator starting on Monday. I'll reserve announcing that person until they start, so they can do proper notice and such. But we're very excited to have some new staff and know that we've got a bright future, and we're going to take our time in really evaluating our processes and making sure that they are certainly clear, transparent, and equitable for our clients. From another update, Commissioner Hendricks brought up the fair. And as Satrice indicated, we are still working on our final numbers for the fair. But we are very happy to report that we didn't have any ride incidents. There were no safety issues with the fair, and that's always huge. That is always a priority of any fair, is to make sure that the rides are safe and everybody has a good experience. We did have a few medical calls, which were handled by our medical team, and there were also a lot of supporting staff from other Metro departments that were on site, and I want to thank the Nashville Fire Department and Emergency Management for their support. Emergency Management was here almost every day, walking the grounds, working with our security and our medical team, and the support by Director Chief Swan was invaluable, and we really want to thank them for that support, both in planning and then event day, fair day support. But there was a lot of hours. When you set up a fair, it takes about a week and a half, and then you have a 10-day run, and we got 3 days to clean up. And so I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate staff's effort. That was a lot of hours and a lot of cleaning, but we had a lot of support from staff, and we had a lot of support from the farmers who come and support the fair and support us because they believe in the agriculture education that the fair provides. And it's really invaluable, all their support, because we wouldn't be able to do that without a wide network of people who are committed to that education. So big thank you there.
Okay, seeing that we have concluded our events update, we're going to move to the Executive Director's Report. Director Womack, you're up.
Well, I feel like that was kind of part of my executive director's report, because actually what I wanted to do during this time is make sure that I introduced our new staff, which I did. I took the opportunity during the events update. So that's, yep, we can move on.
We will now move on to old business, and we will first start with the Fairgrounds Improvement Project.
Well, I'm going to pinch hit a little bit. I do see Dirk here, but I'm going to pinch hit for GHP. They were unable at the last minute to come today, but in your packets is the dashboard and the update for the financials. For the most part, as in last report last month, the financials on the Fairgrounds Improvement Project has not changed significantly. We are sitting at about 98% complete with the expo projects. There's a few things that need to be wrapped up, including some remaining furniture, fixtures, equipment purchases. That's the FF&E line. And of course, we are waiting to get final occupancy and the addition on the maintenance and multipurpose building, which is located off of Benton Avenue. So you'll see that closing out hopefully within the next couple months. I will also remind you that the figures, and I have heard Mr. Henley say this a lot, is that these are not as of today, that there is a delay, about a 45 day delay as they get pay apps in and invoices in so that they can check and issue payment for those. On the second part, you will see phase 1 and phase 2 of Fair Park. There's been a little bit of movement on phase 2 from 2% complete to 3% complete. A lot of that has to do with some engineering and some continued design work to refine those plans and project management. And then phase 1 remaining money, that is going to hold. It would be fair to say that we can utilize any remaining money from that project to help supplement the phase 2 project, which it is obviously linked. So with that, I can move on from the financials to the draft document that you have in your hand. My understanding from last meeting is that you asked for an update on where we were on doing some of the ADA improvements that we had walked. And so this is a draft. This is not all inclusive. There's some other opportunities that we're going to look at to make the campus even more accessible than it is and get some questions answered. But this gives you an idea of what we're going to be working with. Reached out to NDOT, and they have relayed to me the contractor that they use for striping, and so be looking into that and how to get this work complete so that anybody who needs access, especially from Nolensville Pike, until we get the Windgrove entrance constructed, it'll give them a safe, marked pathway to get to the expos. So this is a part, this is draft, and we'll continue to refine it even outside of this footprint that's indicated in this picture, moving forward.
Okay, thank you for that
Is Dirk-
report, and I'm going to call Dirk Melton to come up and speak with us about mixed use.
Perfect.
Now.
How's that?
Yep.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, everyone. Happy to provide a very brief update on Block C. I'm pleased to report the construction is going exceedingly well. We've had very few weather delays, and the concrete trades have really been excellent in getting the foundations and the first elevated slab in. You'll notice along Benton Avenue, we're standing concrete columns right now, so the project is starting to come up out of the ground. Facing Benton Avenue, those represent the areas for the retail space that will be opening when the project opens up against Fair Plaza here in about 2 years. Over the few next weeks, we'll be topping out those columns with an elevated slab, upon which we'll be delivering the wood framing for the residential units above in the month of November. So all those activities for those major deliveries will be occurring after the raising season and after the soccer season, with the exception, of course, of Nashville SC playing in the playoffs finals back at Geodis Park here in a little bit, being optimistic. The garage foundations behind the building continue to go very well. Right now, we're putting in grade beams in preparation for concrete panels to start showing up in the month of January. After the holidays, our hauling and delivery routes continue to be from Gate 7 out Craighead over Browns Creek. That will continue to be the case as long as possible. And as a result, we've had really no disruption to the campus activities and uses or the surrounding neighborhood due to the way that we're bringing materials in and out of the site. The project continues to be on track to deliver for our first residents to move in about 2 years, which is great. And we continue to be very appreciative of the cooperation we're receiving from the Fairgrounds personnel, Trek Enterprises, and Nashville SC as we continue to operate on campus and hopefully be good neighbors. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Commissioners have any questions? Seeing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I'm going to turn the floor back over to Director Womack for an infrastructure report.
So we are really excited to report that Wedgewood is supposed to open tomorrow. It's very exciting. You know, it's a whole new world. We've never had that type of public road through our campus before. For those of you when we were up on the hill, there was always a nice pathway to connect Wedgewood out to Nolensville, and it certainly was the preferred commuter route, especially at rush hour. So we're very excited that that roadway is going to open. We're working internally on plans for how we're going to change up maybe how we run our parking operation and how tickets are handled and paid parking with that roadway open. And then we're going to have to work very closely with our events now moving forward to make sure that, you know, they have the information that they need to relay to their customers and their vendors as far as how things are going to operate, since it is an additional change. Benton, on the other hand, is not slated to open till probably right after All-American 400. We'll be able to use the roadway for pedestrian use, but we probably will not open it quite yet for vehicular traffic until close to November 1st. But that, again, will be a really good way for people to navigate the campus and have really good access to all of the places and all of the venues on campus.
Does anybody have any questions for Director Womack regarding infrastructure? Seeing none, we will move on, and I will call Mr. Eagles to give us a Bristol Motor Speedway update.
Hi there. So the first thing that I'm here to report on is the status of the analysis that Chair Wiener requested last month. I've been working closely with the planning department to procure the study that will look at the existing facilities and what the cost would be to bring the existing facility into a safer situation as well as ADA compliance. On the Bristol side of things, we're continuing to make really good progress on a term sheet and development agreement and lease agreement. Continuing to make good progress there and expect to have a presentation of documents ready for you to consider, hopefully within a month. Happy to answer any questions about either topic.
Commissioners, do you have any questions for Mr. Eagles? Seeing none, we thank you for coming over.
Thank you.
Okay, and now we have the Community Impact Speedway Policy discussion. And do we have a representative from NIAC? And I will call on Mr. Bergeron to speak with us.
Hey, good afternoon, Commissioners. Just a couple items for you. I know that you have some new business coming before you, which is the 2023 renewal of the racing contract with Track Enterprises. I think that's the next agenda item. And we got some information during the last NEAC meeting, and we were happy. I think it was good to hear that extension, at least as was discussed by Director Womack, would maintain a lot of the same levels for next year as we've had now for the last few years. Of course, that very important one being the track rental time is going to stay the same, 100 hours. That's 25 track rentals, 3 to 7 p.m. only during the week. It's a really important number. It's made a huge difference and an evolution from what was unlimited track rentals for free. And so that's really important. And that's important for this community. It's made a huge difference. And again, I reiterate 100 hours because there's not a lot of discussion about what track rental is in numbers. And of course, the draft contracts that SMI has worked on, which would go back to that and double or triple the amount of track rental time. So I appreciate that the Fair Board is looking to maintain that 100 hours and respect that. Likewise, one other point on that is just that the Friday nights, and that's been something the community reached out to me a little bit about this season. You know, traditionally, for many, many years now, Friday nights are for qualifying. And under the current contract, that time has to end at 9 p.m. I know there have been some efforts here and there, and I know Bob Sargent works really hard to deal with a lot of demands. There have been a little bit of actual racing on Friday nights, and that's a change. And I know they work hard to get those done early and everything like that, but that is a little bit of an evolution. That's a change, and night over night racing is the thing that grinds on the community, and that's why it's really good right now that there's only only the All-American 400 is 3 nights. And generally it's qualifying on Friday night, racing on Saturday night. That's kind of the cadence. And so I would just call your attention to that as you talk about 23-3 renewal. The 2 nights back-to-back of racing can be a bit of an extra grind on the community, and the qualifying is obviously much preferred. So those items were just the ones I wanted to call out for the contract. And then just one final item, I just would, in case any of you all missed it, I had sent you all an email, the board an email just pointing out about the capital improvements budget and how there are 3 separate projects in that total bundle. I'm not really clear on why that changed and what happened to sort of just make that all one bucket of $150 million, a little different from the version of the community capital improvements budget I saw a few months ago. But there is $25 million in that budget as a placeholder for a true renovation there. Obviously, that would go a long, long way towards updates of the local racing track. So just, again, you have options along the way as you consider what you're doing. Thank you for your time and your consideration.
Thank you so much. Is there any other old business? Seeing none, we are going to move to new business. And as Mr. Bergeron referred, we do have an item on here, and it is consideration of an amendment to the contract with Track Enterprises for the 2023 racing season. I am going to ask for Director Womack to read the amendment as written, and then I'm going to ask for an amendment to the amendment. Just paraphrase it.
All right, so paraphrasing the amendment. This amendment is based on the agreement that we had with Track Enterprises for last race season. It is certainly our desire to make sure that we continue local racing. The contents of the amendment are primarily to edit dates from the 2022 agreement to reflect the 2023 season. Additionally, there is an insertion into the agreement which just clarifies that the Fair Board agrees to lease motorsport event space on the dates for 2023, and that Track Enterprises will have the exclusive and continuous right to book up to 10 motorsports events during the term of the agreement, and that if Track Enterprises wishes to pursue motorsports events outside of the class, size, or type scheduled within the past 3 years, they must first present the proposal to the Fair Board for consideration. This term is consistent with past contracts, and so there is not a significant change from what we have seen. The second insertion is merely a date change from 2022 to 2023 and has to deal with the specifications of mufflers by March 1st, 2023. And then, of course, the effective date is included in there of December 7th, which takes place the day after the current agreement expires.
And the amendment that I would like to add to the amendment references the mufflers specifically, and I would just like us to add the language to delegate the authority to Director Womack and your chair in reference to adding language to allow us to tweak this to authorize some sort of better specification and reference to the rules as they rely on enforcement of those muffler regulations. And so our amendment does not at this point reference enforcement of the rules, and we just need to reference the rules and specify the enforcement. And just in the interest of time, if we could do as we have done in the past and just allow the chair and Director Womack to authorize us to tweak that language and then exercise execution of that. So I would ask for a motion to amend the rules as shared.
Madam Chair, I move that we amend this amendment to include the delegation of authority to Director Womack and to the chair to make the necessary edits to the agreement in order to stay in compliance with the, is it muffler sound, the sound ordinances?
The intensity, just to enforce regulation of the intensity.
To enforce the regulations.
So, Alex?
And just to clarify, you're approving the amendment with that addition, right?
Correct,
Okay,
yes.
just want to check.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Now, discussion and questions.
What's the current ruling on mufflers?
So the current rules are within the body of Track Enterprises documents that they share with their drivers that is not referenced in this particular document. And that's the reason that I'm going to sit down and go over the rules as they stand with Mr. Sargent and make sure that they are to the level that we don't have issues of elevation of the sound level to the point that it is counterproductive to what is presented in their rules right now. And that what's really missing is the enforcement piece, and it's referenced in his rules, and we just need our amendment to reflect that for consistency.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody have any other questions? We will now call for a vote, and I will probably just move from commissioner to commissioner so we have that recorded. So Commissioner Avila. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. We have one late request from Commissioner Hartley, and he sent a note to Director Womack. Thank you for that reminder.
Thank you. This is from Commissioner Hartley. He's unable to be here today. The statement reads, Dear Fair Board members, I'm unfortunately able to join you today for our meeting as I am out of town for fall break. I asked Director Womack to provide my point of view on the proposed contract amendment with Track Enterprises, and I've also summarized here. Overall, I think the best approach for the fairgrounds at this time is to maintain the status quo or alternatively decrease the amount of racing activities. The fairgrounds should seek to maintain as much flexibility as possible in the case fairgrounds needs to pivot to accommodate changes to the operation of the Speedway moving forward. I generally support an approach that accomplishes that goal. Thank you for considering my point of view.
Are there any other comments? We're going to reopen the floor for a vote. Commissioner Avila, sorry.
I approve.
Commissioner Hendricks.
Yes.
Commissioner Owens.
Yes.
Seeing that we have unanimous, I am a yes, and we consider this passed. And now I would like to entertain a motion that we adjourn.
Madam Chair, before we adjourn, I did have a question.
Absolutely.
I actually was thinking about this, and we have not heard anything about the rent relief program. Can we have an update about the rent relief program?
Can we do that for next meeting, Director?
Sure.
Okay, that'll be great. Thank you for that. Commissioner Avila. Okay.
So, Madam Chair, I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you for coming, and sorry for the sound issues.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.